Good afternoon. I just wanted to give a shout out from Indiana. And you can see me looking outside. It's I'm going to get up to like 16 today, and so the snow that fell last night didn't melt. So I thought I might offer my first YouTube video concerning marriage. I thought maybe I would start everybody the first lesson today from Genesis 2:24 Ministries with where we start every couple, with a little visual aid. If you've ever been to See Gay and I, you know that you've seen this before, and I'll also put it in the video and put a link to this so that you guys can pick it up. But basically it's a picture of a cartoonish picture of a train, and it asks the question, what powers your marriage? And then it offers 3 words at the bottom: fact, faith, feelings. So each of these vehicles in the picture represent 3 different things: fact, faith, and feelings. The very first one, the engine, the steam engine, some people don't know what a steam engine is, but is the facts. What are the facts of your marriage? What are you basing your decisions on? What is the truth? You know, there's a lot of self-help books out there and a lot of things that give you recommendations on what a married couple should do, how they should behave, how they should feel, and so forth, how marriage should feel to you perhaps. But I want to offer that there is one place that the facts of marriage live, and that's in the Holy Word, the Bible. This needs to be where your facts come from. In the pages of the Bible are a lot of practical ideas about how to run your marriage, but there's also a lot of spiritual advice. So the idea is you've got to decide on what will you base the facts of your marriage. And I recommend strongly that you have a place that is not just a truth, you know, like I'm a man and my wife's a woman, but the truth that God meant for marriage to be between one man and one woman, which is clearly documented in Genesis 1, 2, and 3, right in the very beginning of the Bible. So that's a place that you can go for the factual matters. The second little car in our illustration is, you've got the steam engine. This is where the power comes from. These are the facts. And then you've got the coal car. Some folks know what the coal car is. When trains ran on steam, they had to keep a boiler hot. And the way that they kept that boiler hot is they drug behind the engine a smaller car that was filled with a combustible material, coal. Coal burns very hot, and it doesn't need very much coal in order to create a hot fire to make steam to cause the steam engine to run. This cloud of smoke here represents that coal burning. So yes, the Bible is the facts, but right behind that, faith is the coal car. You know, I can read the Bible all day long. I heard Pastor Steve Green here in Seymour, Indiana say just this past week, talked about you could go to every church service, you could have perfect attendance in Sunday school, but if the things that you are learning, the education that you have, don't cause you to behave differently, then you just have education. You really don't have any faith in what the Bible says. I decided a long time ago that the Bible was true cover to cover. And then I began to read the Bible more clearly, and I found out that I wasn't living my life the way the Bible described. So I needed to develop faith in the fact that the Bible was true. The Bible is the truth. You got to have faith in that, because this last car that's in the train is the caboose. Now, some folks don't know what a caboose is, but so let me tell you just a little bit about it. We don't have them anymore. If you ever go to a train track and watch the train go across, you'll notice that car after car after car after car will go by, and then finally the last car happens. It's not a caboose. But if you'll look on the end of the train when it goes away from you, if you'll look up the track, you'll see a little red light. Those are, some people call those the one-eyed conductor. That's what they were first called when they were hung on the back of the train. But they serve the purpose of what the caboose used to be. The caboose used to be a place for the conductor to ride. And basically, as long as he was back there, the guy driving the train, the engineer, knew that the train was intact. And if there was a guy that needed to get out and hold the lantern, it was the guy in the back in the caboose. And he would ride back there until he was needed. A pretty easy job, because a lot of times they had pot-bellied stoves in them. They were back there sipping coffee and playing checkers if there were two of them. And so it was a relatively easy job, very important job, but relatively easy. And they have become obsolete because we can do it with a machine. This last car we call feelings. How you feel is really of no consequence to the facts or your faith. You can't lead by your feelings. If you tried to pull a train by the caboose, you'd end up with a derailment. And a derailment is considered a very bad thing. Think about it. You don't hear about them very often. And so it is something to be avoided. So don't lead your marriage by feelings. Well, I don't feel like doing that, but the Bible says I should. But I don't feel like doing it. What you're saying is that your feelings are more important than the facts that are in the Bible. That's a problem, and it will always lead to problems in a marriage. So, just to summarize, there are three things I want you to consider: fact, faith, and feelings. The facts are the Bible. Sometimes I have an idea about what might be true, and then I read the Bible and I know what the truth is. And sometimes I have to change my mind based on what I read in the Bible. Faith. Faith is, I heard it best said by Troy Burns. He said, like when you sit down on a bench, faith or trust is that place where you stop working and rest. Think about it. When you sit down in a chair, you believe that that chair is going to hold your weight. And so you sit down and you put all of your weight on the chair and off of your legs. And you let your legs rest. Faith is that place where you stop working and trust in the fact. That's a great place to live. And finally, it feels pretty good to rest, does it not? It feels pretty good to get along with one another. My wife and I never argue if there's an item in the Bible that says we're going to tithe, for example. We don't have to argue about that. That's already settled. There's already a fact that says tithing is a way to blessing. I have faith in that, and my wife and I feel good about it, and we never have to argue about it. This is a wonderful place to live your marriage. So ask yourself, what's powering your marriage? Is it faith? Is it fact? And your faith in the facts? And then finally, your wonderful feelings come along. Be sure to visit us at www.genesis2-24.net and let us know what you think of this video. Be blessed, and know that we're praying that your marriage will be wonderful, beyond blissful.